Do you ever get tired of listening to people that are already rich say things like, it's simple, start a company, build it effectively, and sell it for millions of dollars a couple years later? We are not all natural-born entrepreneurs. This advice does not resonate with many of us. It certainly meant nothing to me personally. But I do have over $1 million saved and invested, and I'm here to tell you that you can do the same. And look, this is not the BS you hear about people with crazy natural advantages. I've done this in a boring and methodical way, without any miraculous breakthroughs along the way. I am the definition of JAG, just a guy. This is the first step in really sharing my journey with you on this channel. There will be more insights to come in future videos, including sharing my entire portfolio so we can grow together over the years. In this first revealing video, I want to explain how simple, not necessarily easy, the path to financial freedom is. The lifestyle I teach in this video will get you to your first 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and even up to your first $1 million. It really doesn't matter where you're starting from right now. This is a universal blueprint that just helps you accumulate wealth no matter what. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jeff Teeples, and here we aim to grow your wealth with simple, time-tested solutions. If you enjoy videos like this, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend about the channel. And also drop me a comment down below with your thoughts on this topic. So far, the community has been my favorite part of making these videos. Let's grow. My background. I am not a fan of talking about myself at all. But let me just spit out a quick little history here, and I promise it'll tie in to the point of this video. I grew up in a small town in Washington State, and I was never one of those overly ambitious people from day one, just that natural entrepreneur, but I did get solid grades in school. Being successful and accumulating wealth never even crossed my mind until way later on in life. I decided to go to a trade school to learn telecommunications after graduating high school. I really didn't have any interest in college at the time, and I saw in the brochure that this program would teach you how to build a computer from scratch. And as an avid gamer at the time, I thought, I'm in. I got a job after earning my certificate that had me pulling telephone and internet cable through new construction sites in the Seattle area. Not exactly what I was looking for. Me and the other two newbies that I started with all got laid off after 9 months on the job. And after doing some soul searching, I realized that I had no desire to find another position in this field. I can summarize the next 2 to 3 years by just saying I was a screw up across the board. At 23 years old, I finally decided to go to college for the first time. I was that 23-year-old freshman. And by the time I hit 28, I was graduating with a master's degree in accounting. And a quick side note here before we continue, I made some of my best memories in college. I partied a lot, way too much, met a lot of new friends, got to room with my best friend, and it kicked off an education that never stopped. I was compelled to throw in that quick side note because there's so much more to life and happiness than just building wealth. After finishing up college, I was fortunate enough to get a job at Boeing, and this is when I really started to turn things around. I actually looked for a job when I just had a 4-year accounting degree before doing the master's program. And it was right during the aftermath of the recession in 2008 through 2010. And without exaggeration, I couldn't even find a free internship at the time. So I decided to stop working nights at a warehouse and just push through and get my master's with the 1-year program. At the time, I was piling up debt, so I was really betting on myself and just hoping that this would all work out. So I was walking with my head held high, and this brand new sparkling job started at a massive $47,000 per year. But to me, I had won the lottery. Now at this point, I owed my parents about $3,000 to $4,000 on the side, in addition to owing about $75,000 for a combination of student loans and life mistakes. I really am and was very grateful that my parents paid for the trade school, otherwise I would have been sniffing 6 figures of debt already. I should probably make my way back to the point of this video before the last person watching clicks off. I guess the point to all this is I did not get off to a red hot start in my wealth accumulation. In fact, I didn't even have a job that paid much more than minimum wage until I was 28 years old. But I'm babbling on about myself here, not for me, it's really for you. No matter where you're at right now and why you're there, it truly doesn't matter. It's never too late to start making good decisions now and to work your way towards hitting all of your goals. This story really sucks so far, so let's get to the part where I get the $1 million. Paid that dreaded debt. Priority one was for me to tackle my debt aggressively. I could not stand owing people for anything. And I didn't realize at the time that this was a key system to building wealth. I just wanted it gone. I had multiple student loans with different terms, but I think I ultimately consolidated it to one big loan at, I want to say, 6% if memory serves. Outside of financing my '99 Honda Civic, which was the first car I ever owned, and car one of two that I've owned to this day, I spent almost every penny aggressively paying down my debt. And another real quick side note, this one actually related to wealth building. I'm 41 years old now, and I've owned 2 cars in 20 years. The compound effect of that wealth building compared to the opportunity cost of purchasing new vehicles has easily made me 6 figures in that 20 years. But oh baby, I dropped 11 grand on that '99 Honda Civic, and I love that car so much. Rode the 401k. This was technically the first thing I did, even before paying down my debt. I've screamed it from the mountaintops, you guys, so many times. I even have it on my investing priority guide video ahead of emergency cash and paying debt, and I stand by that. A company 401k plan is the easiest way to build crazy wealth, period. Contributing up to the company match should absolutely take priority over paying off any outstanding debt or having an emergency fund. Never say no to free money, especially tax-deductible free money. The compound effect of these variables will break your brain. From day one of having my new job, I signed up for the 401k plan and I put in 8% of my gross pay to get a 4% company match. Boeing had a 50% company match on your first 8% at the time. This varies from company to company, so be sure to check the details of how your 401k plan works, assuming you have one with your employer. And also, I cannot emphasize enough, only put in the amount that gets you the full company match if you don't have that emergency fund and you have credit card debt. Because those two things do come before contributing extra dollars to a 401k plan. I'll never forget, I had a fellow accountant at Boeing tell me to max my 401k. You know, I'm brand new making $47,000 a year and I have almost 6 figures of debt. And I'm like, oh yeah, max my 401k sounds great, bro. But each year I would try to put in a little bit of extra if I get a raise or if I could shore up my budget a little bit. Putting in that little bit of extra really added up. My wife, who I met at Boeing and is also an accountant, she did the exact same thing with her 401k contributions. She would increase the amount she put in each year as much as she could while also balancing paying down her student loans. And we did all this separately pre-marriage. We finished the job, which was mostly my debt, after getting married in 2015. If you're 45 years or younger, I would recommend putting all of your 401k dollars into a low-cost S&P 500 fund if your company has that available. It's what I did in my Boeing 401k before rolling it over to my E-Trade account 9 years later. If you don't have a low-cost S&P 500 fund available in your 401k, look for broad growth indexes with low expense ratios. And if you don't have any great options there, you can go with a target date fund. I would just recommend, if you're 45 years old or younger, going with a target date fund that's built for people that are younger than you. So if you plan to retire in 2055, maybe go with the 2060 or 2065. Because I think if you're in it for the long term, you'll take some hits, but over time, the market goes up about 10% and you have a lot of years to have things balance out. So when you take that hit, you're actually buying more shares every single paycheck. Leveled up specific skills. Investing in the right skills to help you excel in your career is the one thing from this video that you actually have to do to build wealth. Most wealth building factors focus on what not to do when you really think about it. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Don't ignore your 401k. Don't get in credit card debt. Don't try to time the market, etc. Once you find a career that speaks to you and gives you the opportunities to grow, you need to develop specific skills that will set you apart. After all, your portfolio needs money to put into it no matter how well you invest. The primary focus is to make yourself as irreplaceable as possible. Add value that the executives of the company would hate to lose if you were to bounce. For me, I worked in accounting and finance for 13 years. I made plenty of accounting entries and produced financial statements and did all the other job requirements along the way. But I quickly noticed that all the decision makers wanted better information to make data-driven decisions. They liked things like dynamic charts to explain the trends and back up the decisions that they made. At first, I would take the default report and very inefficiently make a one-time chart to compare stuff. I eventually got to the point where I could take data from any number of systems and create dynamic reports that were self-updating real-time. This didn't happen overnight. I was constantly learning how to expand my reporting abilities by using Udemy, YouTube, Google to learn more about basic programming and advanced Excel functions. And of course, trial and error was also one of my greatest teachers. I'm encouraging you to find something that you love to do, find ways to add extra value within the field, and never stop being curious and learning. It took me from 47 to 170,000 per year. If you continue to grow, you'll add more value to the world, but it takes dedication to make it happen. Lived within my means. I'm not cheap, but I'm certainly frugal. I'm the guy that will buy one nice thing and use it for 10 years as everyone around me is updating each year with a new fancy toy. Keeping up with the Joneses has never appealed to me, even before I understood the ins and outs of personal finance. My system was, and is to this day, to make investing a bill. After I was debt-free, I rolled the amount I was paying plus a little extra into my 401k. Eventually, I began to max my 401k contributions each year, so I opened a taxable account and kept putting the extra into that. It doesn't do anything crazy when you add these little incremental amounts each year, but the compound effect will just blow your mind. After you tackle your debt and systemize your investments, feel free to spend money on whatever you like to do. As long as you have the money and you don't put it on the credit card, because then you start the cycle all over again. If you follow these steps for many years, you'll be rich without needing a single breakthrough or without needing to be one of the lucky people. I know I made my fair share of mistakes along the way, as you saw by my history, and I'm the type of guy, for example, that pays for every service that exists out there when I probably shouldn't. But it's not about pinching every penny. It's about systemizing the heavy hitters in life and staying the course for long periods of time. There will be plenty of room left over to spend money and time on doing the things you love to do. Just focus hard initially on knocking out your debt, making your investments a bill, and not creating any new credit card debt. If you do this, you'll build wealth. It truly is that simple. You'll build even more wealth if you beat the market every year for a decade. Check out this video right here to see how I did just that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Thursday, and sometimes on a Sunday. Peace.